it's such an amazing question. Grace, it's such a big topic, and it's so vast that we can't really sit here and talk about what it really is. Definition, we could all say we'll have a different definition. For example, me, God's grace is Him loving me unconditionally, giving me that grace without me deserving it. Grace. His grace is He gives it to me no matter what I do, whether I mess up or not. The grace is there. He's not gonna take it out because you did something wrong. Well, because you did this. No, that's His grace. His grace abounds more when we mess up. We're able to see His grace even in our sin, right? And one of the definitions I heard, and it's very true to me. It's God's grace is Him giving us what we don't deserve, and we deserve the worst, right? Because we're sinners and we failed Him, and we failed Him so much that He doesn't give us judgment. He doesn't give us the bad things that we deserve, but instead, with His love, He is able to give us the things that we don't deserve, which are His love, His mercy, His grace, His favor, all those good things. He's the author of grace.
Yeah. I get what you mean. Like, our sins, they're so ginormous, so filthy, so dirty, and even the Bible states it. For the penalty of sin is death. The wages. And it sucks. It's really bad. And we're so covered in this grime and filth. It's like absurd that it's an absurd thought. That someone would actually, say, hey, you're so screwed up, so jacked up, and I'll help you. And like you said, everyone has a personal point, and my personal feeling of grace is kind of like because everyone has a different encounter with God's glory and God's grace. For me, it's kind of like all those times I sat behind a computer screen, just watching pornography, kept saying tomorrow, Lord, I'll commit my life to you tomorrow. Tomorrow this, tomorrow that, and then nothing. His grace to me, it was like every time I was sitting there watching pornography, giving myself away, tying myself to a chain, hell-bound, He was sitting there saying, I love you. I love you more than anything. And for me, that's kind of like, how can you love me? What kind of kid goes up to his parents and says, oh, I'll go mow the lawn tomorrow, and doesn't do it? Obviously, that kid's going to get put in his place, Dad's going to say, hey, go do it now, or this or that. There's consequences, and, it's beyond me, how Jesus could just say, hey, you're so screwed up right now, but I'm going to take it away. Don't worry about it. It's all good. It's an absurd thought, It's like, dude, are you crazy? But that's what grace is, And you can't call Jesus crazy because He's giving you something amazing.
And we all have different experiences, and to me, we're able to see His grace. Me, I wasn't born in the church. I wasn't born in the gospel. I was walking straight to hell. That's where I was going. But Him in His grace, He was able to get me and lift me out of that path and put me on the path of life. And all that sin, all that stuff. Like, man, why would you put your eyes on me after all the stuff I did? And that's where you're able to see His grace. That's where I saw His grace in my life. I was going straight to hell, and He was able to get me, clean me up a bit, and put me in His path. And how could I thank Him enough? He's just so amazing that we're able to experience His grace. And it doesn't stop there. We see His grace every day. Even in our path, we mess up, and we're able to see His grace. His grace, even though we sin, Lord forgive us. His mercy is there. His love is still there. So it's His love is His grace is amazing.
Yeah, it is, because there'll be days where like I'm saved, I'm glad, but there's times you'll be walking down the street, you see a pretty girl, thoughts occur. It happens to every man, and His grace is just so big and vast, that even if you do that, you still get down and say, God, I saw this girl and I looked at her with lust, but I know that it's okay because you're freeing me from this sin slowly but surely, and I know that I can turn to you instead of letting that thought, just grow and expand inside of me. I can say no to it right now and say yes to you, and so that's pretty cool. Like you were saying, you weren't raised in the church. For me, is the opposite story, you know. I mean, I wasn't here at church every Sunday, but, you know, my grandpa's a pastor. My dad taught me from right from wrong, you know. And so I was raised the way a Christian would be raised. But me, you know, you'd figure, oh, I'd be some holy guy, you know, white all over, you know, just, but no, dude, forget it, man. You should have tarred and feathered me, you know, with all the things I've done. You know, like, that's what grace is to me, you know, and like you said, you see it every day. You know, when I see my dad wake up, you know, this guy, drug addict, you know, alcoholic, you know, and wakes up every morning, you know, has back problems, has all these issues, but he can still get up and say, Jesus, thank you for this day, you know, and, you know, that, my dad, as well as me, we're both held bound, you know, but, you know, I keep saying it over and over, it's absurd, but, you know, but that is what grace is, and I'm so thankful because Jesus, you know, me, an undeserving person, you know, he still gave it to me. You know, it's like going to the school, you know, and you see the kid that's always in caught in detention doing bad things all the time. You know, would you pick him for a scholarship? To send him off to the best school? To have a guaranteed future, a great future? I highly doubt it, you know. And, you know, that's my perception of what grace is, and I'm just thankful overall.
He is the author of grace.
Author of grace.